Okay, so in this file, I've got a query from Wikipedia of some data about Simpsons characters. You can see it's got the character name, the voice actors, and a few other pieces of information. What I want to do in this video is create some functions to interact with this data and show that we can use the query name or the table name as a workbook scoped name that is referred to from within the functions themselves, which should simplify the way the functions work. So I've got the bones of three functions here, and at the top of this namespace, the Simpsons namespace, I've defined a name called data, which points to the query name, and that will allow me to use a shorthand form of the query name within the functions. I could actually just use the query name, but I find it's easier just to define it and shorten it, and then refer to data from within the function. So let's flesh out these functions and see how they would work. So I want to create something called voice actors of, where you give it a character name and it returns the list of voice actors who played that character. So in a simple implementation of that, we can do something like this. Okay, so we're referring to data within this choose_cols function. So this is filter the second column, which is the voice actors, where the first column is equal to the character name. So that's pretty simple. So let's try and see if that works. Simpsons, what are we doing? Voice actors of, let's try Homer Simpson. So that works, great. So let's try characters played by. Now this one's a bit more complex because a voice actor can play multiple characters. I'm not sure why I can't paste. Okay, so this one's a bit more complex. So what we're doing here is we are filtering column 1, which is the list of characters in the table, and we are getting those from column 2, where the actor name parameter is found within the text in column 2. And the reason that we're doing it this way with this is number and find is because filter does not support wildcards. So this is kind of a workaround to have partial matches. So if I put Hank, as it will return this one as well as the other ones where it's just Hank as area. So that one and that one and that one. So that's why this is number find is necessary. And we convert them both to lowercase, because if we don't, it doesn't work. So that's characters played by. So let's try getting the characters played by Hank as area. Characters played by, let's just put Hank actually. So there's the full list of characters who he voiced during his career. So that's great. Now let's just take another look at these and notice that there's some room for improvement here. So you see this choose_cols, we're actually, if we highlight it, we can see it's highlighted here as well, which means it's repeated, which means we can simplify by adding a name that refers to choose_cols data 1. So let's say characters equals choose_cols data 1. So now we've got a name that refers to the first column, and we can replace that in our formulas with characters. And we've got choose_cols data 2 here for the voice actors here, and that's another repeat of itself. And we can do the same with that. If you just give me 1 second, I will copy it from over on this other workbook. And just put that in like that. And now we can have actors here. And the formulas in the function start to make a bit more sense. So now we are filtering actors where the characters is equal to the character name, or we're filtering the characters where the actor name is found within the actors. So just sync that and it still works, so that's good. Let's fill up this first appearance of function. Now this one is going to return the minimum air date for a given character. And the function for that, rather than type it out and make you wait, I will just copy and paste into here like that. And that is the minimum of the filter on the 5th column, which is column E, which is the original air dates, where the characters column is equal to the character name, which is a parameter. So that's first appearance of. So let's try that. First appearance of this guy. So that's the first appearance of the infamous Excel date. I won't bother changing it. So now that's great. Now I can copy it down like that, but we're in a dynamic array world. We don't want to do that. So let's try doing this. Well, that doesn't work. And that doesn't work because first appearance of is expecting a single value. And this function does not work if we give an array into character name. So what we need to do is we need to lift this function over the array if it happens to be an array. And the simple way of doing that is just wrapping it in map. For simplicity's sake, I'll just copy it over from my other workbook. And you can see that it is now map over the array character name. Now that could be one cell or multiple cells. The fact that it might be one cell doesn't matter. And let's map this function to that array. So this function is exactly the same as it was before. We're filtering column 5 where the characters vector, which we've defined above, is equal to the parameter to the function, which is going to be, we'll pass one cell from the character name array into this lambda as x, and then x becomes the single character's name. So it does that over each character in that array. So before we continue, we've got this choose calls data 5. Now up here we've defined names for the columns. So I'm going to do the same for the 5th column, because who knows, maybe in the future there'll be more functions to create. And this is going to be first appearances, and I'm going to just change this to first appearances. So now we are filtering the first appearances column, which is column 5, where the characters column is equal to the value x, which is going to be each cell from this character name array, whether it be one cell or many cells. So first appearance of. And when we refresh that, we now have dates. You can see I've passed an array into first appearance of, and it works just fine. The final thing I'm going to do to these functions is just apply this mapping lift behavior to the voice actors of function. And that goes like that. Let me just get that back in the right place. So that will allow character name the voice actors of function to be an array of more than one character. I'm not going to do it for the characters played by, because typically this function returns multiple rows per actor. And if you're aware of the array of arrays limitation in Excel, you'll probably agree that it's more trouble than it's worth to try and implement that for a simple demo like this. So that's really the end of the video. What I really wanted to just drive home here is we don't have to pass the name of the table or select it as a parameter in any of these voice actors of characters played by or first appearance of functions, so that we don't have to have a data parameter and then select the table each time, because these functions are specifically for this workbook and are designed to work with this query. And so if we define the query as a variable in the namespace itself, or even just refer to the query name within the functions, we can have simple functions like Simpsons.characters played by Hank, or we can have simple functions like Simpsons.firstappearance of, and then refer to the list of characters here. So we don't have to actually select the name of the data set because it's embedded within the functions. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, that's kind of a convenient way of simplifying writing of some of these functions. And by adding these vector names, we can be sure that every time that we refer to characters, or we want to use characters in a function, however many functions we might define in this namespace, it will always refer to the first column. And if we change the query in the future and the characters becomes a third column, we will only need to change it in one place, and it will be changed throughout. So I hope you found the video interesting. Have a great day.